Sabaha everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about the Mi Mix 3 review. I've had this device for over 3 weeks now and I want to share with you guys my experience of using this device. Specifically the things that I liked and the things that I did not like about the Mi Mix 3. This is TK and let's check it out. The Mi Mix 3 is definitely a very unique device. We have a 6.39 OLED display here that's powered by the Snapdragon 845 in the background with 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of internal storage. We also have the ability of getting an 8 gig and a 10 gig model, although depending on the markets that you're in, as well as 256 of internal storage. We have a volume rocker and a power button on the right side, a non-programmable or reprogrammable button right now that initiates the assistant. We have a SIM tray compatible with 2 SIM cards, and this device is definitely working in the US, as this is the global one that I was able to pick up. And you can see right there we have the AT&T logo that's sitting there. What you do get a chance to also do is, if you'd like to be able to use that link in the description below, you'll be able to save $50 off your order from this for this device. But the main thing that makes this very, very unique, of course, is the fact that that mechanism here that hides not only the 2 sensors that we have in the front, but as well as the front-facing flash. So we have a 24 megapixel front-facing sensor. So we'll go ahead and open up the camera. We'll turn on the front-facing camera, and you can see right there, we have HDR. We also have AI, so we'll go ahead and get HDR on. We have AI, and of course, we can also turn on the flash, which is that little option that we have here. I'll turn that off, didn't mean to blind you guys. And of course, like I said, you can customize it, go in there. There's portrait mode, slow motion mode, video mode, and of course all different options, as well as night mode, which is also something that's very nice here on this device. But we'll get into the camera in a little bit. Let's go ahead and unlock the phone. Main thing you'll notice once you open up the device is the fact that this is running a skinned version of Android. Now this is running Android 9.0, so we'll go ahead into the settings, we'll go about phone, and it's right there. So if I can just pressing it, we'll get Android Pie Easter egg, and it's not a bad implementation of a skin. It's not stock. It's going to have some options that you may or may not like. I like personally the ability of swiping down from the top, the ability of basically swiping up from the bottom, taking it directly into the assistant. I can use the button here to initiate the assistant if I want to, and of course I can basically turn on different options. The one thing that I'm not so happy about is that the included skin does not include an app drawer. There's no option to turn it on. You don't have a way of basically setting it up, and of course you'd end up basically installing a third-party launcher, which is not an issue, but it's something you want to keep in mind. Now looking on the back, we have 2 12 megapixel sensors, and of course we have a fingerprint sensor that's not built into the display. And the other thing, of course, is we also have a ceramic back that's supporting wireless charging. So we have a 3200 milliamp battery that's in the back powering this, as well as a wireless charging, which is included in the box, so that's very, very nice. But one thing that you'll notice right there right away is that really nice shiny back is extremely prone to fingerprint fingerprints really. So you end up basically either having to wipe it down all the time, or you can also go with the options that I've reviewed for you guys before. There's an included case that comes with it in the box, and it looks really, really good. I like the fact that they include one, but it's not really great for protection, and it's extremely thin, but it does, support or at least protect you from scratches or minor scratches. And then of course there are some cases that I reviewed to you guys from Tudia that not only work but also look very nice and provide you with a lot more protection all around the device. So if you're getting this device, I definitely recommend you getting some cases, and of course there's so many options. I'll give you guys a link to that in the description below. The cameras on the back work very nice. They're not the best cameras on the market, but with the included AI and of course with good light, you should be able to get really good pictures. The fingerprint sensor, extremely fast, and we're able to use it very, very nicely. There's no face unlock, unfortunately. And as far as the mechanism itself here, what we are able to customize it. And I'll share with you guys exactly how we do that. We'll go into the settings tab, go into the slider option, and then you can select what you'd like to do. You can turn on the selfie option, which turns on the camera automatically and takes you in there. Let's go ahead and close it. You have the ability of opening up tools, which is what we had, and that for the most part is, let's say in certain setup tools, you can go into the recorder, calculator, flashlight, camera, note-taking, or even split screen, and you can go away from it right away. Or you can customize specifically what you would like, and I do apologize for the theme that I have applied here. The font's not showing, but for the most part, what you're seeing here essentially is all the different applications that you'd like that you can use. And let's say I want to use this one. This is the gallery. I can open it up. It takes me directly into the gallery, and I'm actually able to just go back in. So very customizable, very nice, and you can basically set it up to the way you want it. There is no option within the UI for us to be able to remap this option, so I was not able to do that. So I'm going to keep it at tools for now, and what we can also do is remap or change the either play sound, what you're hearing now, or you can also change the different aesthetics. And of course you can have the aesthetic without the sound and just turn it off and basically not have to worry about it. for the most part, I like to keep it here on mechanics, and then I keep it on, and it works really nice. So from the things that I like about here is I like the fact that we have gestures. I like the fact that it is a simple UI. We have the ability of integrating this nice little shelf option here on the left, and all your applications are present here, but you do definitely need to do a much better organization of it. So that would be my one thing I don't like really about the launcher here, is the lack of an app drawer so that I can make a really clean UI here as far as experience from the main launcher. But it's also the fact that, you know, I wish there was a little bit more customizations in what we got here. So you can obviously go into the settings, you can set up widget, wallpapers, but it's not really as functional as, let's say, Nova. So for me, I've pretty much stuck to using Nova on most of my devices. So not an issue installing it, but out of the box, you just need to be aware of MIUI is great, it just has limitations. Now, as I mentioned to you guys, is the fact that this is running the Snapdragon 845, which for the most part means we're going to be getting great gaming, we're going to be getting really good experience in this. And the reason behind that is because of the fact that we have a full display, an almost entirely bezel-less display with no notches and anything. There's no covering anything in here. And when you're playing games, this is going to be one of the really cool things about it. You're not going to have any issues as far as playing games. You're going to basically get just a full display of all your games, and it's going to run at the highest quality since we're running the latest chipset. The one thing that we do need to keep in mind is that there's no 3.5mm headphone jack, so you do need to use that dongle. So if you're playing the game and you're trying to play it this form factor, you're going to have a problem here because this is going to stick in your hand. So Bluetooth would be my thing, would say go for Bluetooth, play with Bluetooth and get it running. Let's get through these ads. And of course, if you're going to use the built-in speaker, although great, it's a single firing speaker that's built at the top. It is good because it doesn't get blocked right away when you're holding it, but when you're playing with it over time, you're going to realize that it's just everything's firing to the right. So again, Bluetooth, definitely really good. They do have some really good Bluetooth codecs here, so that will help you definitely get the best experience that you can. And you can see that the theme kind of permeates throughout the entire system. But as far as graphics, we're able to go all the way HDR Ultra, as you can imagine. There's no question here. And of course, we could just jump into the game and it'll start playing right away. The experience playing here is really nice. There's no question that this is a really good gaming phone. The 3200 milliamp battery on this is not going to be too bad, but again, I wish we had a little bit of bigger battery to give us a longer play time. Because even though we're running a 1080p panel, so let's go ahead and start the gameplay. Even though we're running a 1080p panel, we're still running, for the most part, a very small battery, which we're definitely supporting Quick Charge 3.0 and 4.0 is going to be nice. But it just, again, having a dongle, having a cable running on the side here is not going to be the best experience. As you can see, I'm holding it and I'm blocking pretty much that side, and that's going to be the experience for the most part. Now, the speaker itself is not bad. It does sound pretty good. So let's go ahead and play the quick song here. Again, not the worst sounding speaker, but it actually sounds pretty good overall. Call quality on this is pretty decent. I've been using it on AT&T and T-Mobile. And I've also heard from some of my friends that this will even work on Verizon if you have a Verizon SIM. So compatibility in the US, as long as you have a SIM card, you should be able to use this, although it hasn't been tested on Sprint or any of the other carriers. But AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon, this device should be pretty good for you. Now, when it comes to photography, the cameras on this device is actually pretty decent. We do have HDR, and it does actually a pretty decent job as far as basically exposing for the foreground and the background. And I was specifically intentionally taking a picture with a really lit almost background. You can notice right there the clouds, everything is really just saturated in the background. And of course, it didn't actually ignore the foreground, so we were still able to see the details. And again, it just works really nice. And as far as front-facing selfies, it overall does a pretty good job. You notice the UI is actually very smooth, very fluid actually. And of course, you get all the details, it's like beauty modes and options that you get there. But the camera itself has many options. We're able to go to 4K at 60 frames per second, and that's really nice as far as what we have here. So when you go under the additional options here, we'll go into camera, we'll go video. So you see right there, we're able to go to 4K at 60 frames, 4K at 30 frames per second, of course, and go all the way down. Very nice as far as the compatibility, and of course, or H.264 or H.265. So what does that mean as far as the camera and the compatibility? Does it really work well? Is it a very good camera on the market in 2018 or even in early 2019? I'm going to say this is a really good camera for what you're getting at the price point. This device is definitely not going to break the bank. This is going to be a really good price point for a new device, specifically running the 845, running some of the latest specifications. But not only that, also running some of that really unique, addicting, just sliding, unsliding, sliding, unsliding, sliding, unsliding kind of a thing. I think the Mi Mix 3 has a lot to offer in that aspect. The overall camera experience is not going to disappoint. I think the Mi Mix 3 can produce pretty decent pictures in good lighting. Night mode on this did not really surprise me. I was not exactly too over the moon about this. It is definitely reusable. It's faster than the Mate 20 Pro, but it's not better than the Mate 20 Pro. That's the best way to say that. We have HDR as well as the fact that we have AI on both the front and the back facing cameras. And what we have here essentially is just a really good experience using this device. If you're looking for a phone that is priced around $500 to $600, and you're looking to get basically some of the latest and greatest specifications with a very unique mechanism that is just addicting to play with, for me, this is definitely one of the devices you can get, specifically if you're looking for something outside of the Chinese market, because the only other competitor to this device right now is pretty much just limited to be available in China. And if you are in China and you live there, I honestly think the Magic 2 is definitely a good contender to the Mi Mix 3. But since the Mi Mix 3 is global, available in Europe as well as in the US, I think this is definitely going to be one of those devices that you will not be disappointed getting. It's a strong, powerful device. We have the 845, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage, LTE connectivity on all the major carriers, as well as decent cameras on the back as well as the front. And that sliding mechanism ever so slightly just makes it very, very unique. And what I really like is that the case manufacturers are starting to make cases for it, as it's something that is very unique like this, you definitely want to be able to protect. Let's wrap up the things that I liked and I did not like, and some things that I may talk about may show up in both lists. First thing we're going to talk about is the design. I love the design, the uniqueness of it, the sliding mechanism, and the fact that we have an almost full display on this device. The things that I did not like about that is that a good part of the time when I'm taking it out of my pocket, I end up sliding the phone open, which means I'm taking the phone out with my front-facing camera or whatever shortcut I have in there turned on. As far as going back into the UI, as far as having the fact that the UI has been updated and has gestures and it looks really good, theme support and all of that. The things that I'm not so happy about is the fact that we don't have an option of turning on an app drawer, and for that we do definitely need to actually install a third-party launcher. Sound quality on this is going to be pretty decent as far as the speaker, and it also works really good as far as phone calls. As far as the 3.5mm headphone jack, I'm not going to say it's the best, but you do have a really good codec support to be able to get good experience when you're using it in Bluetooth. So that takes me into the things that I did not like. I would have loved to see a 3.5mm headphone jack or even stereo speaker implementation, as that would have been really nice, specifically since we actually have that mechanism there, and it felt like it didn't necessarily need to be a small speaker sitting there. They could have put a much bigger speaker and give us a much better sound experience. As far as the dongles and so on, there's nothing we can do. 3.5mm headphone jack is gone. That's pretty much the way of the world. As far as connectivity and of course charging, overall I think it's going to be a really good experience. Now, battery life on this device was actually pretty decent considering the fact that we have a 3200 milliamp battery. So that's one of the like and did not like kind of thing. I would have liked to see a slightly bigger battery, as the Magic 2s did also manage to have something similar to this as far as the form factor, but a bigger battery. I'm not sure again if the wireless charging had a factor in there. But we do have wireless charging, which we don't have on the other device, so that's something to keep in mind. We have Quick Charge 4.0 as far as Qualcomm's standard, as well as 3.0, and they include the wireless charger in the box. So when you round all of these things and you look at the things that I liked and I did not like, I think overall the Mi Mix 3 is a great device. In late 2018, of course, as well as early 2019, the Snapdragon 845 is a very fast SoC. It has a lot of good compatibility, and of course we have 4K at 60 frames per second that we don't have on the Magic 2. That's something that I don't know if the Kirin 980 is just not capable of, or we have a limitation there. But again, the Mi Mix 3 is a great device. It's available in the US. I did actually end up picking up from Hong Kong using that discount code, so if you'd like to be able to save 50 bucks off of that, check out that link in the description below from funkyshop.club. But it is available in Europe. There's cases now being made for that as well. But if you're looking to pick up the Mi Mix 3, please check the information in the description below. But other than that, like and subscribe. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.